Morning and good afternoon.
Good morning,
Hey
Ryan.
guys. What up, Mark? How you doing, pal? So when I
Oh my
got this
God.
message, first of all, I got this message to Samantha. I'm like, okay. The answer, I have this one rule. The answer is I say yes. As long as I'm not on another call, I say yes because my life has completely changed. My family's life has completely changed. And believe it or not, my daughter will not be the youngest agency owner in 2038. Yes, I have a 4.5-year-old daughter. Unless the people on this team starts crushing it. So the answer is I'm always going to take the time. I'm always going to take the time. And Mark, I appreciate, love you so much, buddy. We've had a lot of conversations over the years. You've been around the block for some time, and you and I have had some really great conversations. Samantha, I really appreciate it. If you guys have been at conference and you saw me speak, listen to me. If you didn't see the picture behind the scenes where Todd's laughing at me because I'm almost vomiting in a garbage bag before I'm going out speaking in front of you 5,000 people, and he's like, "Hey, let me hold your hair, Ryan." I'm like, "Oh, you think this is funny?" And they're like trying to make me relax, but you guys don't realize I freak out before I speak every single time. Every single time. If you and you guys, oh, like, he's fine. Now listen to me. That's why you see vulnerability. I'm telling people it's how I am. What you see is what you get from me. This agency, just for the record, all the agency symmetry is very important to me because my life has forever changed because of a lot of you. By the way, some people you think just because it's the top level, I'm only getting impacted from above, but that's incorrect. You guys are the reason why I continue to do this. The people that are not even here yet is the reason why I continue to do this. Not because of Mark and because of the top leaders in Symmetry and because the owners. No, it's because the untapped potential that A is on this call and B, we haven't even seen yet. So it's about the untouchable yet, and it's about the untapped potential. So Samantha, thank you so much for having me on. What are we doing? Are we doing rapid fire? You just want me to go? Like, what are we? And so, by the way, I didn't even have this plan. She's like, "What do you want to talk about?" I have no idea. Whatever you guys want to talk about. Some of you guys know me, some of you don't. I don't know if you guys want to go to my backstory or what, but Samantha, you tell me what you guys want me to do. I'm rapid fire. Whatever you guys want.
I'm just super, super thrilled to have you here, Ryan. And Sam, by all means, if we want to get into specifics, let's do it. But I think, I think Q&A would be really, really, really great. Just your generosity here, Ryan, just astounds me. I mean, again, you saw the balcony that he's on right now, and it's a pretty, pretty beautiful view. So I'm just super thrilled to have you guesting the call in the short time that we have with you today. So I think, Sam.
I love it. I love it. See, this is natural. That means I get to run with it. Do you guys all see that? That was perfect. You could have said that too. All right. So how about this? Hey, Mark and Sophia. All right. So I get to pour into you. All right. That means open book.
Yes.
All right. Awesome. All right. So, all right. Ready? All right. So first of all, if you're brand new, if you're under 3 months and 6 months, or you haven't heard me speak or don't know my background, put a 1 in the chat. If you guys don't know who I am, other than a bald head looking dude, which by the way, I have 3 other brothers in this industry, you're all going to see us, different lengths of beards. All right, one. All right, so we have some new people. 3 to 6 months. Okay. All right. All right. So let me give everyone a quick snap, okay? And then I'm going to give you guys just what's on my heart, Mark, if I could do that. So my goal for everyone here is to be able to take one thing. And I say one thing. It doesn't matter how many nuggets I give you. It doesn't mean anything if it's going to keep in theory. Now, when I say keep in theory, you engineer-minded people on here, you know the ones that prepares, the ones that want to spend 25 hours on a particular thing before you even decide to jump. All right, I'm gonna give you some nuggets too. Okay, I'm gonna give you how to apply nuggets because I'm an engineer-minded person as well. All right, so I've been in this industry for 8 years. Prior to this, it was corporate America, 19 years. I'll give you guys a real snapshot so you guys know my background. I was a shirt and tie guy, completely allergic to that now. Now I wear whatever my daughter picks out for me. I don't care. Call me what you want. But at the end of the day, the name that's most important to me is when my daughter calls me daddy. It's the number one name. Okay. So I get to do this. All right. And so corporate America took everything. Now, when I say took everything, I don't know if you guys been in a spot where you literally were like sleepwalking through life. I don't know if I was the only one. I swear to God, I was making $100,000. But guess what? Wrong kind of money with wrong kind of people. If you know what I mean, wrong kind of money, wrong kind of people, you get what I'm saying, right? You can even shake your head yes if you know what I mean. And you know what? I don't know if you've been through one thing in your life, something that actually made you snap out of it. For me, my entire family and I were pretty much troubleshooters. Our last industry would hire my entire family. all four brothers, my mom and my dad. We would go in, we moved around every 2 years of our life, and we helped the franchise grow. We actually literally helped build other people's dreams. And guess what? We decided to make more money. The owners didn't want to pay us any more money. So you know what? I'm going to go on my own franchise, Mark, Samantha. I want to do it on my own. So corporate's like, which one do you want? I said, I want you to give me the worst one out there because I'm going to turn this thing around. I was feeling powerful. They stuck me in Fresno, California. What I didn't know about Fresno, there's a lot of interesting things about Fresno. California wasn't really an employee. It was an employer state. It was really for employees. And the thing about it is, I immediately separated from my family. My brothers and I talked every day, saw each other every day. My dad used to make New York pizzas. I mean, big family unit. And then poof, all over the country. Relationships got bad. Two of my brothers talk once a year. And then my dad was out in Plano, Texas, was out to dinner, came back in, tripped and fell. And then my brother texted me and said, hey, dad fell. The next message, I think I need to take to the hospital. The next message, you need to get here right now. Now, guys, have you had this moment in time where you're just like, oh, something bad? Like you got that gut, like, oh my God, like a flash in front of your eyes. Next thing I notice I'm watching all the nurses do that morning turn where they look towards a room and they're looking towards my dad's room. Now, what you guys don't know, and maybe you've heard the story prior, is my brother Dan, all my brothers were there. And my brother Dan, there was a time where my dad got up and like what looked like he was getting better. He broke a rib, punctured his lung. My brother Dan says he's fine. He has to go back to a 9-to-5 job. So my brother Dan gets on the airplane and goes back to work. And sure enough, the next day, it was I don't know if you guys seen this. It was the up, and then all of a sudden it was a drastic down. We're literally watching my mom rub my dad's forehead, talking about what kind of amazing father he's been, what kind of amazing husband he's been. And I watched my dad take his last breath. Now, I want to tell you who I hated at that moment because I just want to take his time. I hated everybody. Everybody. I hated God. I hated my parents for making us move so much. I hated every decision I made. I hated the husband I was. I hated the brother that I was. And I'm at the funeral watching my brothers pour dirt on my dad's casket. And I'm pissed. I'm pissed. I got all this regret. I can't turn back time. I'm not feeling good about myself. And I made a decision and the time where, guys, now I'm bringing this up because somebody on here is going through a dark time. Somebody is. I don't know if it's financial. I don't know if it's relationships. There's a dark time. And here's what I want to tell you. What I didn't know, snapshot from the side, is that darkness is not meant to kill the light. It's actually there to define it. You don't even know it yet. It's actually defining the light. Darkness does not kill it. It defines it. Somebody on here, you're going to be the night light. You're going to be the brightest thing in this damn room. You don't even know it yet, right? So here I am going through all this, made a decision to close a 19-year career, went back to the franchise, closed it up. My wife, we're deciding to go back to Arizona. Happy wife, happy life. She's born and raised in Arizona. No, I'd rather be on the water. I'm just going to be honest. My wife's very happy here. So if she's happy, I'm happy. We're all good, right? And then meanwhile, my wife finds an accidental death policy in a garbage bag. It's in a garbage bag, right? So odd. It was my dad paid $600 for this thing. Come to find out, it was active. We were all shocked. It was a $150,000 policy for my mom. My mom's moving around every 3 months, guys. Now that's her new. By the way, she didn't have a house. She's moving around all of my brothers every 3 months. My mom doesn't have a place to live, right? Living out her new normal, right? And my wife finds this accidental death policy. And here's the thing. Now my mom gets this policy. We recorded the video. I wish I could show it to you here. I'm just on a portable thing, and we tape recorded my mom actually receiving this $150,000 benefit. And now my mom, both cars were in my dad's name. My mom only had $500, right? So now my mom's over here, and now I'm thinking to myself, okay, now what am I going to do? You ready for this? I did the most logical step. I decided not to get back into marketing and sales. I decided not to go where the money was. How crazy is that? Have you guys ever done something completely opposite of your mind? Like your brain logically, you engineer-minded people, this is for you. Your brain says, dude, there's no way I can't physically see this over here. This is the reason why you can't jump. You can't see the value yet, right? And then it's like, my brain's going, I'm like, here's what I know, Mark. Samantha, I do not want the same thing. I do not want to go back in the same route that's going to leave me in the same position with my mom, God forbid. So I decided, closed the franchise, went back to Arizona. Here I am, $100,000 in debt, $26 to my name, and every credit card maxed out. Now, I don't know who you are on the phone right now that a chargeback a $35 overdraft fee. If that's you on this call, don't have to raise your hand. Been there. I was so broke, getting back to broke would have been a big step up for me because I refused money over substance. I didn't want to go down the same path. So then I see this ad. I was a Craigslist ad. Okay, you builders on here. I'm a $35 Craigslist ad. Rob Puckett and Marshall Whalen, or Rob Puckett and Ed Puckett had no idea what my backstory was. And it was a father-son. You ready? First of all, common sense, guys. This is my New York brain for a second. How bad of a company is this if a son invites their father into it? Guys, common sense. Why would you put your father through crap? So everyone that's on here, how many family members do you know? Look at Joe. Martin's right. Like when you see people bring family in, everybody on here, you should be like, what sadistic person would you bring your family into something that sucks? Guys, logic makes no sense. Okay, so logically, you could throw out the door. Listen, obviously this place is good. Too many people are winning. Here I am at this national conference, and here's what I realized, Mark. The numbers, and Samantha, the numbers are going up to the right. Here's what I realized. It's not because we lose people, because we do. But more people find success. Rodney, I don't know, whoever, somebody can make sure. I think, okay, thank you, guys. I hear some people that are off mute. All right, so you ready? Now you're ready. I decided I want to do insurance. You ready for this? I went to my first national conference unlicensed. Here's what I understood. I don't know if any of you on here have been to conference and you were brand new. Here's what I understood as much as you did. Nothing. Not much. Mark, I didn't understand S&As. I did not understand $1 million. I didn't understand these numbers. I didn't understand American amicable what? Remember, I was 1 week. I was taking the life and health test. And you know what I realized? I was praying to God that my life was not going to be like this test I was studying. That's all I cared about. I swear to God, if that's what my life was going to be, I would not be on this call because that was not fun to me. In fact, I left conference and I took life and health and I shrunk it down just to life because I hated the test so much. And they're like, no, you need to take both. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just going to take life. I failed my life test. My wife and I went to take the test the same day. My wife passed. I failed. Horrible ride home. I don't want to talk about it. Yes, behind every man's a better woman. She was better. She went back to her New York Yankee game, and she's like, get back on and take that test. I failed my test by 1. Thank God she told me. Took my test again. Now, you ready? Everybody on here, bad at everything. All right, so here's what I want to tell you. I was bad at following instructions. I was looking at this 4 cornerstones, a system, as it was like horses at a buffet. Mark, hey, listen, massive action, constant correction. Nah, I'm gonna take a little bit of belief. Resources on my own time, not consistency. I didn't realize that this system is like shepherd's pie. Guys, listen, you're eating it all at once. This is like, it's like a 2-legged bar stool. You're gonna fall on your face. It is not meant for you to take pieces. It's meant for you to do everything. So you ready? Here's the biggest ego check in the world because there's somebody on here that probably needs one. Listen, my ego is the most expensive thing I own, right? And they tell you, my first week, I set this appointment 3 hours. This is back when we had to drive to appointments. Arizona, Mark, you know how big that thing is. I mean, God, it was all day driving for a few appointments. My first appointment is 3 hours out. I get there and there's a bottle of water with a note on the outside and it says, hey, thanks for your time. We changed your mind. After a 3-hour drive. All right. Some of you on here can't handle when somebody doesn't show up for an appointment on Zoom and you call your upline. You're like, I hate it. I just drove 3 hours to get a bottle of water. Suck it up, Buttercup. You got it easier. All right, so stop. So listen to me, okay? This is the truth for Ryan, right? So I drove 3 hours out. I got this bottle of water. What do you think my upline heard? All right, for everybody that's on here that decides to go ahead and let your upline know how you feel, I'm going to help you on this. You have 5 minutes. I'm helping you. Only give it to your upline for 5 minutes. Guess what I gave my upline? The entire drive home, I gave it to him. And then I mean, New York driven, guys, verbally bad, right? You know what he said to me? This is when I knew, Mark, I didn't know what I was talking about. You ready? This is the one moment. I was like, and he goes, I just have one question for you. why would you only book one appointment if you're driving 3 hours anywhere? Take foot out of mouth. All right, you ready? How many of you just give it and you give it to your upline, give it, and never once did you ask? Never once did you ask about his perspective. Never once did you look for, hey, what's next? You guys have 5 minutes. I question what your conversations look like for your upline. Here's the deal. Every one of you is in a box right now. I know, crazy. I know it sounds New York at what want to use. I know. My cousin Vinny Utes. We don't want to talk about that. Listen, you're in a box. Where's the label, guys? On the outside of the box. You can't read the label when you're in the box. You guys are all trying to go to a place you've never been. You are. You've never been there. You've never been an agency owner. You don't know what it means to what passive income. You've never built a volunteer army. This is not W-2. You've never done it. And you're sitting here like the blind leading the blind. You know what I do? And this is what I did. After I realized that I didn't know what I was talking about, this is in a bottle of water, guys. This one thing told me, that's it. I am going to stop proving my way right. I'm going to start proving Symmetry system wrong. Stop making your way right or trying to prove it. I don't need you to do that. You don't need to do it. We already have proof. We have people to do it. If you're not a millionaire on this call, we have people that are millionaires. And guess what I would do if a millionaire told you to read a book? Read a book. If a millionaire told you to go to a local meeting and you don't know why, go to a meeting and find out why later. You don't need the why behind everything because you're trying to figure out the vision. And the whole point is we're trying to tell you how it's going to feel on a place you've never been. It makes no sense. You have to actually shoot before you aim. I know it's crazy. It's crazy when they tell you to order leads before you get them. Why do we tell you to do that consistently? Because some people on here stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. You know, you ready? That's 3 years of my life. So listen, my question for everyone on this call, and I'm going to get to the second part here, and then we're going to get in some nuggets. Juicy nuggets I'm going to give everybody, okay? What capacity, how are you expanding your capacity? That's what I want to know. Because Mark, we get in this same routine. By the way, we get comfortable, don't we? If you stop failing, you stop trying something new. Ooh. It's only a failure if you quit. It should be a lesson. Mark and leaders on this call are not going to steal your lessons, nor am I going to steal your victories. But you got to realize that you're going to go through the crap either way. Now, some of you on this call, here's what's crazy. Some of you go, Mark and Samantha, I'm not going to build until I know it works. Here's my answer for you. Stop playing God. You cannot tell me where somebody's heart is in a 30-minute phone call. Mark, you can't. You can't. I can't. If Ashley Richard, by the way, called me crying at the airport, I don't even know who Ashley Richard was. She wrote $100,000 3 months. She like the top performer, right? But do you know she came here? She wasn't that person. But you know what I wanted? Symmetry system. It's caught, not taught. I don't care how much I say. You got to physically walk the path. And why are you going to steal somebody else's chances because of your perspective on somewhere you've never been? That is completely illogical, everybody. None. Zero logic. So the only thing that's going to happen between now and when you're comfortable, the only thing you wasted is your time and somebody else's opportunity on a program that you're not in charge of somebody else's destiny. The only thing you're supposed to do is if there's plenty of people that found success, who would you like to at least see it and have an opportunity? That's all I did. So did I make more mistakes than everybody else? Yes. Well, that's why we went from 660,000 to 4.2 million in our second year, because we made more mistakes than anyone's. A hot mess. Here's the thing, everybody. Guess what your symmetry journey is going to look like? If it doesn't look like a finger paint, like back in kindergarten, remember when you took your hands and you went like this? Because in every mess, there's a message. Listen to me. Do you know when you're plumbers and you're trying to find the cracks in the pipe, what do? They shove as much water in that thing as they possibly can. You know why? To find the cracks. Here's my question. Are you guys trying to get more from less? Ooh, I know that's hard for you guys to hear. You think you're having a sales problem. No, you're having a showing you need to see more people problem. Recruits, oh, I need to be better at conversion. Wrong. You need more people through your pipeline so you can find the people that are hungry, that wants to change their life. What do you think I did? Ashley, it wasn't me. Ashley was hungry for it. It's, oh, Mark, isn't it always the thing before? It's always the thing before. You think it's sales? Nope, it's because you're scheduled. Nope, listen to me, Ryan. I've been doing sales a long time. I know it's sales. How many people did you see since you've been here? 3. And you're going to quit? You're going to think you can't do this? Now, you ready for this? When I said your capacity, I want to know in the chat. You don't have to tell. Actually, you know what? Don't do that in chat. Here's what I say. What financial problem can you guys handle today? When I say this, think about it. Is it a $35 overdraft charge and you you're like Mount Helen explosion bad? What if it's a chargeback problem? What if it's a health problem? Let me ask you something. If 2 years from today, I'm not saying anything. I just say this. I'm not wishing anything, guys. I'm a big law of attraction person, but I want to make sure I make this point clear. If everyone in the chat, if 2 years from today, something drastic was going to happen, can you financially make, I'm not saying you can make it like going from death to life, but how many of you would act differently today if you knew 2 years from today somebody in your family would be affected and you could have either been there or supported or helped? How many of you would in the chat say, me, I, we? Would you be a little bit different today, Mark? Would you guys try a little bit harder? Would we order more leads and give it one more shot? Would we make one more phone call to our upline? Like, how many of you would be just a little bit different? I, we, me. So let me tell you something. Ready? In 2018, here I am, 2015, went to my first conference in February, got my license in March of 2015. Horrible, right? Bad through it all. And listen, letting everybody know how bad I was. So guys, stop trying to be a superhero. Guess what? You suck at certain parts of this business. Let's be honest. But here's what I knew. I knew that when I had Miranda, when Miranda Martin goes, are you still working on that PowerPoint? It was 3 hours, guys. And she goes, just send it to me. She did it in 15 minutes. How do you think I felt? Guess what? Relieved. Relieved that I had her. So listen, I get my lessons from everywhere. Everyone has, listen to me, we don't need another Brian Delaney. We don't need a Ryan Miller. We don't need another Brad Smith. We don't need another Chris Cook. We don't need a Mark Newbauer. Guys, we have one of these people. Everyone is unique and special. So you ready? What is your market value? Because when Apple hit the scene with their ugly color Mac, they thought their market value, Mark, was through the roof and was going to change the world. Your thought process of what your market value is, just because other people are telling you what your value is, that doesn't mean crap. I determine my market value. I do. And the thing about everyone here, you're going to be a product of the environment, or you guys can be strong enough to build your own. Now, you ready? Here's the kicker. 2018 comes up. Our beautiful daughter's born. My mom's visiting us. And then my mom gets diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, is given 6 months to live. Life happened again. Do you guys think just because you're okay right now doesn't mean life's not going to come at you? Guys, listen, that's the only time the devil shows up, when you're doing things right. New levels, new devils. I always say it all the time. So listen to me. You're going to have bigger problems. I hope you're so big at those problems look like speed bumps. Listen to me. If gifts and presents are wrapped with problems, bring on the big problems. Bring it on. I want bigger problems because I know I get paid even more when I impact and solve through them. So you ready? My mom gets diagnosed with 6 months and has 6 months to live. Here I am celebrating my daughter's life when my mom's 15 feet down the hallway and she's fighting to save hers. All over again, guys. I know I'm going to lose a parent again. The difference is I was able to rewrite regret. Because I put my head down long enough and took the hits long enough and got better and started working with people and just got better when I was bad. And I started believing I had to not go down the same path. It was not going to be an option. So my mom did. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what hospice looked like and how it was the worst thing I've ever been through. I don't even want to talk about that because I can't. But I'm going to talk to you about how my mom lived. We were able to buy my mom a lake house. My mom wanted to look at hummingbirds. Not me. She wanted to look at hummingbirds. She didn't die in 6 months. She lived for 3 years. My entire family, because of this business, was able to work at that lake house with my mom, see my mom every month. We had 1 month with my entire family, all the grandkids, to give my mom the morning coffees, the hugs. So let me ask you, why do some of you quit 30 days in it leads and you know what this could do, but you don't believe what it's going to do for you? If you knew you had that kind of value, you knew that something dramatic was going to happen and you were the difference between life and death, would you show yourself more grace? Would you show a growing upline, a leader, grace? Would you do that? Because no one's perfect. I still make mistakes. But somebody on here, you're going to sit here and tell me my upline. Guess what? Everyone has a problem with an upline. It's not your upline. It's you. It's you. Listen to me. You're either going to be a lesson for your upline, which is okay, because uplines make mistakes too. But if you're going to build a team on this call, guess what? You're going to have that same problem too. You're going to have that same problem too. You're going to go through it. And you know what? My mom didn't want for anything because she had the Ryan Miller Unlimited Insurance Plan powered by Symmetry. I went from making $100,000 a year to $100,000 a month. Here's the thing. I get to give away so much of it. Money doesn't change the person. It actually multiplies who that person is. If you're a prick, you're probably going to be a bigger prick when you get money. You are. But if you want to give, see, I didn't want to impact 10 to 20 people. I want to impact 10,000 people. So here's the question. Who are you trying to motivate? It's not motivation I'm looking for. I'm looking for empowerment. I'm actually looking for you to change your life. I went from like participating in Make-A-Wish to granting wishes. I went to going on these carrier trips to putting on carrier trips. Like, how much of an impact? Don't you at the end of the day, Samantha, don't you at the end of the day want to know it's not the cars, it's not the watches, none of that crap matters? But don't you want to know that your life actually meant something? Seriously, don't you want to make an impact? But you know what? Some of you don't want to go through the hard. But my question is, when life happens to you, I tell you what, money doesn't buy happiness, but money will buy an opportunity to make an impact. It's not the money. It's not. But I want to help people, and the only way I can do that is by helping people go from motivation to empowerment. So you engineer-minded people on here, we're going to talk to you because I'm a big spreadsheet engineer-minded person. I am. Now listen, we can talk spreadsheets all day long. Again, you don't know where you are going because you've never been there. You kind of want to. So Mark, I would sit there and I would take these numbers and I would go to somebody, you'd be like, all right, dude, this is what I got. And then I would say, what's your perspective? Why? I've never been there. Common sense to me, right? Same thing, guys. You builders, here's my question for you. How come you can't just say, Mark, I want to build. What's next? You know why we can't say that? because you haven't found enough wins in your mind to do it. So here's my thing. This is also a reason why I talk to Mark. You know why, Mark? I may not see the wins. Mark, I think I'm doing horrible. Mark, I get one conversation and Mark tells me I'm doing amazing. Here's my question for you. If you're on this call and you've been in the pit of despair for more than 2 days and you now are in witness protection, then oh my God, you are gone. Poof, where'd they go? Another man down, out the door. All right, if that's you, you know who you are because you were an amazing. Listen, I had this $1 million business, right? And I was the guy that couldn't help a family with an $85 policy. How do you think that made me feel? Danny Young's a pro. I'd be the guy going hungry in the grocery store. So if you are on this call and you are miserable for more than 2 days, action step. You need to call somebody that can get you out of your own head. If you can do that, watch what life happens. Just watch. And then here's the big thing for everyone on this call too, okay? The biggest change for me was I went from never developing, never working on self-development. By the way, hated book, guys, attention deficit. Like I'm literally, my wife tells me to sit down because I'd be on Zoom thing and all you see is the turning. She's like, you're making me sick. That's why I'm not on video. So if you're not on video because you're also like me and you pace, or you're a mom and dad and you got multiple things, listen, I'm not even upset with you. I hope you're just taking one thing in this message and apply, okay? My whole thing is when you're working with Symmetry and you're going this direction, everything that you do and everything that you don't do has an impact on somebody else. Listen to me. Somebody's pit of despair is going to be somebody's saving grace. If you knew that your challenge, Mark, actually helped this person stick around one more day to possibly hit the light switch, you just helped somebody from quitting. Instead, you were so stuck in your own head, you don't realize getting the negative out. Listen to me, every high performer, if you guys followed Ashley Richard on Facebook, do you think that she didn't have challenges? In fact, she mentioned all that stuff live. And what do you think you were more impressed with, guys? Were you more impressed with the fact that she did 100,000? Are you more impressed with what the mother that she is and the fact that her 2 sons are growing up to be the type of men that she wants? Like, what's more impressive to you? The number is just the byproduct.
For what it's worth, for
So,
those
like,
who don't know, Ashley
go ahead,
posed
Mark.
a self-challenge, right? In which she said, I mean, here was an agent who was finding her way in the business, maybe even struggling. She said, I'm going to submit $100,000 issue paid business every month for 3 months in a row. $100,000 a month. And
100 applications she ended up getting. Yeah.
Every single month she updated us live on Facebook, shared her entire journey, and she made it happen because she had resolve and conviction in doing so. And I just had to give that pretext to those that don't understand just how powerful that journey was that Ryan's referencing.
All right. So you ready? So here's the other thing. Ready? Here's the other thing I want to mention. Okay. I know, guys, and it's not a soapbox. I hope somebody on here cares so much about the legacy that you could leave that you get out of the word present. So you ready? For you builders on here, people that want to build a team. Do you know what I spend the least amount of time with, Mark, when I'm on a conversation with somebody? The present. You know what helps me get through the challenges is because I know how big, and my upline believed in me that they thought that they already walked me down mentally, Mark, how big I was going to be. I'm going to be a big agency owner. I'm going to impact thousands of lives. So when I get a no on the phone, what's more important? So when you're coaching somebody, how do you get through the pain of today? In the military, I went to Fort Leonard Wood or Fort Lawson in the Woods, Missouri, and I remember doing these front back goes, which is like flutter kicks, push-ups, and running in place. And I used to think the burn, Mark, was me sitting at the beach with sun hitting me, like, oh, the sun did. I don't care what you got to do mentally. I went from not wanting to read in the morning. So this is going back to the morning routine. Listen to me. I went from never wanting to read. If you're that person on this call, look up something every morning that says, how to get through adversity. Guys, listen, adversity is opportunity in disguise. You better learn how to change that flip around. Every time you see adversity, it's an opportunity in disguise, okay? I went from reading 15-minute or watching 15-minute videos to reading books. Listen to me. If you are building a team, I read this book 5 times a year. 5 times a year. Remember I told you if a millionaire tells you to read a book, listen to me. If you don't know what your own voice sounds like on the other end of the stick, you may be using some weapons you don't even know. You ready? This is not a W-2 business. People actually want people. You want people to want to work with you. Seriously, you don't you want people to actually enjoy the people you're working with? Some of you guys just think this is all just transactional. It's relational. Transactional is one thing, and that's volume. Relational is where you get the stickability comes from. Some of you guys bring lots of people and there's stickability. And that's because you're losing on relationships. You want to know how people's voices go. You ready? John Ziller and me are 2 different voices. But have you ever heard us together on a call? How many of us think that we've known each other for like decades? No, we didn't. We don't know each other for decades. I met him once when we were buying our direct buy franchise. We had a boot camp for 2 weeks before they sent us to our own. And that's the last time I ever talked to John Ziller in 19 years, for the record. Like, long time. All of a sudden, Carl was the one that knew him, not me. But you would think our relationship's that close. You want to get really good. So you ready? Nurturers, just for the record, are going to be 43% of the people that you're going to bring in this. You're going to bring in 43% of people and me in this business. Me. Pioneers, I don't know, what is it, Mark? 7%, 9%. It's so low on the pioneers. You ready? You need those too. Guess what? Building a business is like building a puzzle. I don't want the same size, shape, and size pieces, guys. You're never going to put that damn thing together. You need everybody. So how are you going to work with everybody, Mark? How do we grow together? That means if you're going through challenges, listen to me. All of a sudden, I changed my morning routine and I started reading. I self-developed for 2 hours a day. So some of you guys want to read at night. All right. So, and some of you want to go, you know what? I'm going to wake up in the morning for kids. Listen to me. The first part of the morning is for you, not the kids, not your spouse, you. If you wake up to your kids, are you making a deposit in them or you? Them, when it's your kids. Can I ask you a question? Some people are on this call with a 5% battery on their phone. If you woke up with a 5% battery and you try to do Zoom, how long is it going to go for your battery dead? You have to have a fully charged battery. Listen to me. If you do that, if you're on this call and you fall asleep and you're going through this energy withdrawal, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, how many of you guys have that? Energy problems. Where you're like physically falling asleep because you feel emotionally it's a lot. Do you know what that has to do with? Energy control. Some of us in this book talks about staying in your lane 70% of the time. If you're doing the things that are 30% majority of the time, Mark, all of a sudden it takes a lot more energy. And here's the thing. If it takes a lot more energy and you have to do it, you better be charged. And that means instead of dialing 2 hours at a time, Mark, maybe for you it's an hour and you take a 15-minute break. You got to make sure your morning, you got the most charge, because here's what's going to happen. Life. You're going to have agents leave. You're going to have top producers leave. You're going to have chargebacks. Guys, people are going to say no. All these things are going to happen. You're going to be pissed or you're up one. There's going to be all this stuff's going to happen. Okay. You're not living. This is not Little House on the Prairie. You're going to see all. I know I'm talking about my age now, guys. It was more Voltron and Wildcats for the record. I know I'm talking my age now. That was big for me. All right, listen. You got to understand all this is going to happen. It's all going to happen. So knowing that, Mark, you need Thundercats. That's right, Mark. You know, but it's how you charge your day. So you do you first. Listen to me, you first. Because when you're with family, you have to be present. You're giving energy out every single time. So if you space out your charge, Mark, your schedule doesn't have to be lined up with mine, but my energy is different than yours. We're two different personalities. So it's maybe 2 hours, it's an hour. Maybe it's not an hour, it's 45 minutes, Mark, but my consistency will be there because you have to be the machine until you can buy the machine. And listen to me, you can be bad enough and to look at your wounds and not think, oh my God, it's either I'm looking at these wounds as a scar of defeat or a scar of victory. That's your choice. Because you're either growing or dying, everybody. If you're stagnant on this call, you're not trying hard enough. If you're not failing, you're not trying stuff new. You need to do stuff that makes you uncomfortable. By the way, that's really hard for engineer people. You know why? Because we only know static. We know static things for numbers and spreadsheets. But what you don't know, because you've never done it, is how to build a community of volunteer people that it's not the best interest of you, it's in the best interest of them, and how you can actually go from motivation to empowerment. And you don't have the answer book for that. And it's time. And it's taking the hits. And it's going through tough times. And it's going through communication. If I told you there's a direct correlation between your success and contacting somebody in your as an upline, reach up and out. I used to call my upline 15 times a day. You're going to laugh. He says, why are you calling me so much? I said, because I'm going to make sure you're in your 5%. I don't know. It was the first thing. It was the first thing that came to mind. I was just making fun of him. But it was fun because I didn't know, Mark. Samantha had no idea how to run this business. I was running a completely different business. So listen to me. Now you ready? Here's a scary statistic. I'm going to give you something. You're going to love this, Pete. Love this for when I say average. I'm not talking about average people quit. I'm not going to go down that way. Listen to me. You ready? $2 million in volume. You want to hear a crazy statistic? 38 people wrote $1 million of that 1 million. 38 agents. 300 agents wrote the other million. Now you ready? 38 was 15,000 above. 15,000 below was the other 200 and something. Now you ready? Here's what's crazy about that number. You ready? I never was an elite producer, Mark. I never had the drive going. I can't wait to write $100,000. I did, right? I care. It was different for me, right? It's something else I wanted. But what I want, I don't know, Sterling, if that's what you want. Maybe you just want like our 73-year-old on my team, Mark, that makes $3,000 a month, and he just wants to spend on his grandkids, but that's what's important to him. Do you know how happy I am that he's happy? Learn to meet people where they are. It is not your perspective that counts in the eyes of where he wants to go in conjunction with where he wants to go. So I'll give my perspective, Mark, when they're asking for it, because here's the thing. I am not going to call somebody and just start giving them coaching when you didn't ask for it. So when they call me, it's different, isn't it? Because now I know, Mark, they're ready to listen. Because if not, we're not trying to ignore you, right, Mark? We're not sitting here going, no, I don't want to talk to you. But if your feet are on the ground and you're trying to build something on quicksand, so this is another really important point, guys. I don't care I don't care if it's a 1-bedroom shack or a mansion. If you're building it on quicksand, you're going to fail. Your foundation, the stuff that Mark's talking about, Cook's talking, like the leaders on this call, like they're talking about, they're just the copycat duplication game. That's all they're doing. That's how you get a solid foundation. And I'm telling people when I feel like this, it's not because people are meant to walk on you. Your foundation be strong enough where you feel like people are able to be built upon you. Do you see the difference? Like, I don't think when Samantha, you called me to ask for the call, that I think that she's walking all over my vacation. I think she's looking at me going, you know what, this guy can help build, and because I believe he has some information to help build upon. Do you see how she just proved that? And that's why this is what I want to do, because I believe I'm strong enough, and I believe people are on this call too. Mark, Samantha, what else? I feel like we're just rolling. Oh, dude, I just went rolling. I know you guys gave me the floor. All right, what else? Anything else? You guys want to talk about 5 minutes?
You rolled
Mark,
through the
Samantha.
This was just amazing, Ryan. I cannot thank you enough for pouring in. I mean, not only are we getting so many comments in the chat, but I'm getting individual texts, and I just cannot thank you enough for taking time out of your day, because you've been an inspiration from the beginning. I remember when Steve Devine and I attended our first conference about 7 years ago, and we saw this group of brothers up there, and we thought, how amazing is it that this guy got his, not one brother, but his whole family's up there on the stage. Like, that was one of the most exciting, inspiring things I've ever seen.
And I'm not done. And the thing about it is, though, I got Carl's at 1:30. I want to be the first family. It's like, dude, we're four of us. It's like the four amigos, not like three amigos. Get it? I don't hold maybe, but like, I want everyone to be at 1:30. So I'm not done. And the thing about it is, like, everybody on this call, I'm telling you, just stay out of the negative. Listen, keep your damp stack of wood away from me. Let me tell you, I'm either going to light you up or you're going to get lit up, one of the two. Because negativity, guys, I'm serious. You can't deposit that anywhere. It's a withdrawal. So if you can't, and it's usually on something that already happened, you can't change. Why are we giving life to that? What you give thoughts to, you give life to. I'm telling you. So I choose to live on the positive. So when my agents talk to me, Mark, they got 5 minutes. And I go, all right. They're like, Ryan, I got to get off my chest. I know 5 minutes. I'm like, go. And they go. And we spend the rest of the call. They end their 5-minute rant with, all right, I'm ready. What's next? If you have a mentor, you say, okay, what's next? If you want to build, if you're not going to your upline, say, okay, I've done it. What's next? Ashley Richard, if you ask her, Ryan gave me a subject. If you're mentoring on this call, you are supposed to leave your mentees with an assignment every time. Every time you get off the phone, leave with an assignment. Give them something to do, and I want them to come back and say, done, what's next? If you're on this call and you have upline, you should be telling them, I want to build, great, what's next? Because if you don't ask for it, we're not giving it to you. We're giving, it's like throw ideas in the wind. Samantha, what you got? I appreciate you guys so much for having me on here. I really do. I don't take this stuff lightly.
Ryan, I am like speechless. It was so moving, honestly. I didn't realize that you could even like surpass everything that I've already felt from you from the national calls, the builders call, the conference. So thank you so much. What I would ask you is, for all the new agents on this call, what are the top three things for a new agent that are non-negotiables in your mind?
Self-development, show up. Listen to me. Show up. And I don't mean show up as the audience member. I mean show up as a participant. That means if you're on this call and you have crew or you have Slack, guys, engage. That means you read a book, you write your takeaway. If somebody's asking for volunteers, you volunteer. Everybody on this call, you ready? You need to do, it's going to be crazy I say this. You ready? I started doing opposite of what I thought. Remember the movie Yes Man? I swear, this is me. Where the guy's like, yeah, Red Bull. I think everybody should Red Bull. Red Bull, you know, like Jim Carrey's so funny. But notice what he did. He started saying yes to everything. Now, here's why I'm going to tell you this. You ready? Every decision that you made up this part has led you to where you are today. So let me ask you, if you are not where you want to be, would you agree that you have to make decisions differently than where you were? Would we all agree that? Because we're not where we want to go, and it's all based on my thought process decisions. So guess what? If you don't want to do local meetings, you better start doing local meetings. If you don't want to reach out to your upline, you better start reaching out. You need to stop going with your gut if you're wrong. Like, do opposite things. Self-development, engage, be participant, and the last thing is grace. Listen to me. I don't care how fast people are going in this business. You know what I stopped telling people? Like, people don't even know this. I was faster than Jamie Susie the top. You know why I don't talk about that stuff? And it doesn't matter. You know why it doesn't matter? Because there's somebody that took 5 years to become an AO. Do you think anyone cares how long it took you? Seriously, guys, does anyone really care? If you finally get to that spot, if you finally can become key leader, if you finally can make an impact, if you can finally go from addition to multiplication, do you care how long it took you? Seriously, if you became a millionaire in 8 years, does it matter that it didn't happen in 3? Would you guys be okay with 8? So show yourself grace. Stop comparing yourself to other people because you're all different. It doesn't matter. Your guys are going to have different challenges at different times in this business. So I stopped telling people how fast it was because that was my mistake. You know what I was doing? I was putting my limit, my thought process on their inability to find the thing I think they should go that speed when I didn't even take consideration where they're at. The things that I'm not walking in their shoes. So if you want to go from motivation to empowerment, you better start meeting people where they are. And it starts with you having grace. And I mean all around, guys. That's the 3 things.
Ryan, thank you so much for taking time out of Cabo. I wish I was there with you guys, but I made a personal commitment to myself, and I am just running.
All right. I'm gonna bring that up. I'm glad you mentioned that again because I wasn't thinking about it when you said it. Now I want to go back to it. Listen to me. Those are the decisions I made right there, Mark. What you just did. People didn't want to travel more, Mark. I started traveling more. Listen to me. I remember being on I remember going to see my best friend during my AO run. And he's like, dude, all you're doing is taking phone calls. He only saw me. I'll give you a last nugget, and it has to do with what Mark's talking about right now. You only saw me for dinner and lunch. Why did you even come out and see me? I said, I'm going to tell you why. Because what you're seeing right now is my sacrifice. But I'm doing this, never have to say no to you again, ever. Accountability goes down, not up, everybody. Listen to me. It's not about what you send to your upline. You'll let yourself down and your upline down all the time. But now let your team know what you want to do. Let your kids know what you want to do. It's a lot harder to let them down. Don't you agree? The very thing that you want in this business is the very thing you have to sacrifice, guys. You want money, you got to invest money in the beginning. You want time, you got to invest time. Have you had that conversation with your family that, Mark, we're about to do some sacrifice? Mark, you sacrificed a vacation. Because in order to get what you want is the very thing you have to sacrifice. And Mark is proving it right now. And I respect the crap out of that because that's how multiplication happens. That's somebody that's willing to do something different in order to get something different. That is the type of servant leadership we're talking about.
Thank you, Ryan. You're amazing.
All right. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
I appreciate
so much.
you guys so much, Samantha.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for such an amazing call. Sam, thank you for arranging. I'm so thankful. Everybody,
I appreciate you guys. And if I had a chance to meet you guys, I appreciate. If I haven't, I hope you guys run like somebody's chasing you. Not in a weird way, but you know what I mean. You guys run after your dreams, okay? You guys, I'm going to take off. I got another call, and then I'm going to hit the pool. All right, bye, guys. Appreciate you.
All right, Ryan. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
All right, guys, what a great call. Sam, I can't thank you enough for reaching out and getting us this month's special guest. I know it had a big impact on at least a handful of people and probably everybody in at least a small way. So thank you so much for doing that. Next week, guys, let's take something from this, right? He said to run like somebody's chasing you. So and again, I'm not looking for any pats on the back or medals of honor, but for what it's worth, I did qualify for Cabo. I had the, flight, 5-star resort, all the sushi you can eat, margaritas, right? That was all included. I'd be there this week, but I made a commitment to myself when I joined the Level Up Essentials program that I'm going to be consistent in my business. I'm going to work my tail off until I find consistency there. And this week was part of that master plan. So it was worth it to me to sacrifice that trip to prove not only to myself, but to you guys. I mean, what we did, it was a lower number, but made the leaderboards already this week, right? So I just want to show you guys that we're capable of anything and everything. We've just got to choose to do the right amount of work. And part of the great thing about Symmetry is you don't have to figure out how to do it. And if you're figuring out how to do it, regroup, talk to your mentor, because it's all laid out right in front of us. And if you need a little extra help, one thing I've always been great at, guys, is conveying the message of how wonderful this opportunity is to people, because it truly has changed my life. So it's why we are some of the top builders in the country. But where I have suffered from time to time because of my other business, my other passions, is consistency on the production side, right? And this was did it in the beginning. Loved it, going to people's houses in the snow, getting torched, just like Ryan said, driving 3 hours to have somebody, I didn't even get a bottle of water. So that's the way it was back then. But now it just feels so good to know, okay, I'm going to buckle down. I just want to see how hard this is, right? So I started all over, new system. Thanks to Coach Finn, we have, those of us in that program have the guidance on a daily basis, but we've got new scripts to learn. We've got new means of communication to learn. It was like starting a brand new job 3 weeks ago. And here I am in week 3. And so far, hopefully today, I don't break the streak. I've got at least one app a day, every day this week so far. And I plan on continuing that through to Saturday. So I want you guys to understand the tools, the resources, they're here. It will take consistency in your business and the resistance to wanting to reinvent the wheel or find the easy way or the different way to do it, because it's right in front of us. And I advise you to counsel with your mentor, get a game plan. It might take a new game plan, right? If you feel like, hey, my game plan's not working, make today the day that you make a new game plan, right? I'm available for you guys at 24/7 because my phone's on silent when I sleep and stuff. So you can't say, oh, I wonder if it's a bad time to call me at 2 a.m. I won't answer, but I'll see that you called. And texts are even better if you're going to do stuff, late at night or super early morning, because that's the stuff I get first. But Sam, thank you for making that arrangement today. It was an amazing call, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week. But let's start anew. If you need to, if you're on a roll, double up, triple up, see what happens. All right. Like Denali, I see you cheering. Denali is on a roll this week, and I love seeing that. So great job, you guys. We'll see you next week.